We're now looking at how to lay a floor by the secret nailing method. So we talked about this a little bit in the last video. Just to remind you, it's a method of fixing a floor where you have a timber subfloor, because we're going to nail these boards with these fixings into the subfloor beneath. This is suitable for either solid floors or engineered boards, okay? We've got the first run in here. It's wedged all the way round just to keep it in place. Again, like the floating floor, we've got an expansion gap at the back and the edges, about 10 millimetres. This is the wax back paper. The waxy side goes down and we fix through it. Now, the reason for this underlay is that although this is a chipboard floor and is highly stable and won't hold moisture, you might be nailing onto old floorboards, for example. So in a Victorian house with old pine boards, there'll be a moisture level in those boards which is considerably higher than this kiln-dried wood. And over the long run, there can be transference of moisture from one into the other, causing this to swell up. This simply prevents that happening. So always put this down on any timber background. Then we're ready to start. We're going to be using this porter nailer for fixing this floor, but the first run is actually better fixed through the face of the board so that it's held rigidly. If we were to use the porter nailer, if it was a narrower board, we wouldn't be able to get the porter nailer on here. And in any case, the porter nailer tends to knock it sideways. And for the first run, we just want to fix it straight down. We've already nailed one of these fixings in. It's nearly there. So Mario just knocked the last bit in with a punch just to sink it below the surface of the board. And then afterwards, we can fill it with a bit of this filler. You can get various of these fillers, just a bit into there. Okay. Before we go on, important thing to say is that when we're fixing a floor by secret nailing, we do not glue the boards together. Gluing boards together is only for floating floors. We put the boards together dry and we nail them. And we're ready to get on with that now. So we'll put the next run in. So use the knocking block as we did with the floating floor. Okay, so if we hold it right there just for a minute, this porter nailer, we fire these nails like this. It's a serrated nail and it's fired at 45 degrees through the tongue and into the floor, and it's fired by hitting this. So there's a shoe on the bottom that sits just there. Grab hold of that, and then Mario, give it a big whack. 2 whacks is often the case, and then spread him out. So the next fixing is, well, 300. He's being pretty keen. You could spread it out a bit more. Again, we want to keep these header joints tight, so we might use a reverse knocker at the other end just to pull them up. Same thing for the third row. Again, we're leaving an expansion gap at this end. Hopefully you've got a good idea how secret nailing works now. Bear in mind one thing, when you get to the other side of the room, you won't be able to use this nailer because you'll be up against the wall. So the last row in is face fixed in the same way as we did with the first row. Now, these nailers can be hired. You know, most of the hire shops do them. You need to get the right length nails, and it depends on the thickness of the board. We're using a 20 millimetre board here and 50 mil nails. If you've got a 15 millimetre board, and many engineered boards are 15 mil, then you'll need 38 millimetre nails. Okay, good luck.